What's going on, Watt family? Today I'm going to be doing a range test on this Pujh 52 volt, 25 amp battery, 26-inch fat tire e-bike. It's dual motor. Now, I've had this bike for a while now. It's a budget e-bike. It's been featured on my channel several times because it is the workhorse of my vineyard. You know, I have the rack, I put the trailer behind it, and I tow equipment. When we pick our grapes, you know, I tow the grapes, etc., right? But here's what's interesting. I received their new version of this bike. So they have this exact same version in a 60 volt, but I got this version in a 60 volt, 35 amp battery, but with the 24 by 4 tires, right? 24 by 4. So what I want to do is I want to do a comparison between this bike, this, like I said, it's like a year and a half old, versus the new bikes. See if there's any difference. I know this is I mean, it may not look like it on video, but this is a big bike. Not as big as, let's say, the Wired Scott or the Magician or the Predator. It's not that big, but it is big. And if you compare it to the M-Way M20, I mean, it's substantially bigger, higher, longer than the M20. So, and even the Ehora, this is my original e-bike right here. It's the Ehora AM100. Also has 20-inch wheels, but it's only 2 inches, 26 by 2 tires. It's still a bigger bike, right? Between those two. Now, I'm going to take it on a range test because I want to see how you know, we'll do a quick review on it, and I'm going to ride it, do a range test. It's not going to be my typical range test because I am not going to dash on it. I'm not in South Florida where it's flat. I'm in my vineyard in Georgia. There are some hills. We're going to go do some hills here. But overall, you're not going to get that real world experience that I normally get on bikes, because when you dash, as I mentioned multiple times before, the reason I like to test the ranges during the dash is because you're going through traffic lights, you're stopping and going, and all that stop and go, acceleration, etc., kills the battery much faster than it would like on this ride I'm going to do now. I'm going to do very little stopping because it's a rural area, very few traffic lights, so we're going to, you know, there's not going to be a lot of stop and go, and as a result, you know, an object in motion stays in motion, right, people? So anyway, let's test this. Let's do a quick review on this one, and then we're going to compare it to the new one when I get back home and put that bike together. All right, guys, let's go over the specs. Now, this is my original purchase order when I bought it, and I bought this bike off of Amazon at the time. So if you can see the purchase order here, you can see that it is a 52 volt, 20 amp battery. It's 1300 watt, peak 3000. I don't know where they get that peak 3000, but dual motor bike, 26-inch fat tire e-bike. Now, the claimed max speed is 38 miles an hour with a claim range of 40 to 110 miles. Has hydraulic brakes, plastic fenders, directionals. What I like about the bike is the ability to switch from dual motor to single motor with just a button. I don't understand why companies don't do that more often, but it is what it is. That's one of the things that I like. So what I want to do now is let me show you the specs that they're claiming on this version of the bike, and then on the one that I'm going to be reviewing shortly. All right, guys, now check out these crazy numbers. Now, this is the exact same bike, except it is their 2025 version. It is called the PU2. It's the same thing. It's a 52 volt, 25 amp battery. Where they get, I mean, these numbers are crazy. 55 miles an hour top speed gives you that same 100-mile range. look at these numbers. There's 26 is fast tire, but let's go into the details of these numbers. So brushless motor, right? It says it's equipped with a peak 3,000 watt motor. It delivers exceptional power and torque for conquering hills. I can tell you that my version does the same thing. Can reach top speed. Okay, see, I don't know. Check this out. It says here 55 miles an hour, but here's a chew number, right? 38 miles an hour. That makes sense. I don't know where they got that 55 an hour one on the top, but this is correct. You know, some of these budget e-bike websites, you really have to take what they say with a grain of salt. All right, guys, this is the bike that I have back at home, back in Fort Lauderdale. So this is the one that I'm going to compare with the one that I have here at the vineyard. So let's go over the specs on this one. Again, it's called the PU2. It's a 60 volt, 24 by 4 inch tires. Let's look at the specs here. It has a brushless motor that peaks at 5,000 watts. This one, the clean top speed on this one is 42 miles an hour with 200 newton meters of torque. It says it's a 60 volt, 25 amp power battery with a claim range of 35 to 100 miles. That 35 sounds about right. I think that's what I'm going to be getting, that 35 mile an hour range. That 30 mile range. So that does sound about right, but we're going to find out if that's going to be correct. And let's just confirm the tires is a 24 by 4 inch. I'm going to bet that the tires are crap because it's a budget e-bike, and most budget e-bike, in fact, most e-bikes, the tires are horrible. There's been some exceptions and some companies that have proved me wrong, but I'm going to bet these won't prove me wrong. I'm going to have to buy some tires for this. But I'm going to be testing this out when I get home. Let's go do a quick inspection and safety check on the 26 by 4 bike, and let's hit the road. Anyway, my beautiful people, let me do a quick safety check on the bike. Make sure that the tires are inflated to the proper PSI. Make sure everything's tight before we hit the road. All right. All right, guys, we're going to start off. I normally use Strava, but I don't have that other phone with me. So I'm going to use this app to track our miles. Record cycling. Let's see. Restart plan. Okay, I'm hoping it's going to record it, and I got it set right. Let's see if it says navigate. Nope. Nope. I don't know why it already has some information on it. I want to clear that. I've never used this app, so give me a quick second. Finish navigation, complete, next. I should have hit skip all. Done. Now let's do it again. Done. Record again. Boom. I want to do a comparison between that bike and this bike, see what new upgrades or if they did any upgrades to the bike, see how they feel. But I can tell you, having had this bike for over a year and a half, I'm a big fan of this budget bike. It is powerful. It doesn't have the greatest components, but the shocks are good, as you can tell. You can take it off-road, on-road. And this is a very, very bumpy road. And for me as the rider, it handles nice. So now that little, it's not really a rattle, but when you hear bumping, I have stuff in my basket in the back. So that's what you're hearing bouncing up and down. And what we're gonna do is, there's no voltage or percentage on this display, which is a downside. But again, it's a budget e-bike. You really can't ask for a lot when you're paying less than $1,500 for a bike, right? Especially $1,500 for a bike that has a battery this big and the power that this bike has. One of the things that I can tell you, when you're riding in slow speed, obviously you don't want to be in pedal assist 5, you should be in like 2 or 3, and it's a very smooth ride. Right now, I'm going to keep it at 5 just to keep the consistency of this range test and this ride. I'm just staying on 5. I am in the lowest gear. And I am going to pedal. I will give it some assistance throughout this ride. But look, already we're at 33. Oh shit, looking down, I almost crashed. But look how quickly we get up to 30 miles an hour. This bike is fast. 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. So the bike has a claim speed, or this bike has a claim speed of 38 miles an hour on just pedal assist. As you saw, we got to 36. I haven't used the throttle. We will use it in a second. But as you can see how the voltage dip drops dramatically. I mean, it's showing only 3 battery bars right now, and we'll see if it stays there. No, it jumps back up. So it's really difficult to gauge your range on this bike because of the sag. But I think, look, it's back up to 5 bars since we're not going hard on it. In fact, I'm not even pedaling. It goes back to 5 bars. But another negative to this bike is that the fact that, man, it is difficult to gauge where you are in terms of the battery life, the battery range on it, because the sag is insane. It'll go from now 5. Watch when we go to, I'm going to use throttle to see how fast I can go on throttle, but watch the sag on it. And I'm not sure if you can actually see it on camera, but the sag is insane. All right, let's see with throttle, see how fast we can get this bike up using the throttle. Now there is a slight uphill. We're at 37.5. Let's see if we give it some speed. Yeah, I just got it to 37. As fast as I could get it. Now we do have a heavy headwind. Sure, you can hear the wind. It is strong. So maybe on the way back, actually, you know what, before we do that, I'm gonna go ahead and turn around. It's like we got a heavy headwind. So let me turn around and do the same thing with the wind to our back. It's about the same, 30, actually it's exactly the same, so it doesn't really matter. So, it's a beautiful day out here in Georgia. All right, let's talk a little bit about the comfort of the comfort on the bike, right? The seat that it comes with, it's a regular bike seat. It does have some cushion on it. It is fairly comfortable. It's not the best, but it's not the worst either. So, and seats are very either preference. I like the narrow, small seats. Some people like the wide seats. So, but I can tell you, for me, the seat is super comfortable. I can ride for a while on the seat and be okay. It's insane how this bike likes to be at 30 miles an hour. It gets to 30 very fast, very easy. Damn, it's windy. So we're going uphill, and I would say this is like a 15% grade, and we're not really losing much power. All right, guys. We have gone 10 miles, average speed 27.7. We've been in motion for 22 minutes, and we have 3 battery bars left. So I am going to I'm going to turn around here and head back. That'll be 20 miles. We'll see where we are, and then we'll stay close to the house because I don't want to run out of battery in the middle of nowhere. So let's do that. I'm going to turn around. We'll head back. And I've been riding the entire time on pedal assist 5. This is a very hilly road. So I like the fact that, you know, it looks like we're probably going to hit over 20 miles. I'm hoping to hit 30, because if I can hit 30 miles, it's really good, especially for a bike that I've had for a year and a half. I've been using this bike every time I'm in the vineyard, and we've been using it to haul stuff. So it's been pulling stuff. So not bad. It's not a bad bike, especially for the price. And so I'm super excited to see what the new bike holds, because according to the manufacturer, they say that new bike is much better than this bike. So we'll find out. Anyways, let's head back. Now starting to see a little bit of power, of dropping of the power or losing power. Because now we're only hitting 32 miles an hour. Although we are on a slight incline, but shit, the wind is strong as heck too, man. As you saw, it dropped down to 31, see? Right now we're getting blasted by the wind. But we are going downhill. So we're not getting that 34, 35 miles an hour consistent speed that we were getting before. We have one battery bar and we got 5 miles to go. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful morning. All right, as you can see, the bike is flashing. Well, now I came back to a battery bar. So we're about a mile and a half to the house. I don't think it's going to give me more than what I just said. So it's a little bit over 20 miles. So I'm not going to continue. I'm just going to head home because as you saw, it was flashing. Maybe if I drop it down to, actually, no, I don't want to do that. If you drop it down to, let's do this. Let me take it off, dual motor, first of all. Drop it down for the next, let's drop it down to 2. And let's pedal. And let's see if it'll flash again. But let me give you my final thoughts on this last mile and a half that we have left. So the bike, as I mentioned before, for a budget bike, I don't think this is a bad deal. It rides nice, it's fast, it has a lot of power, it's comfortable. And again, I'm gonna reiterate what I said about the seat. For some people, you're not gonna like the seat at all. Some people want the wide seats. I don't like the wide seats, but I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of you that would change the seat because it's narrow. There's not a lot of cushion in it, but as a cyclist, I'm used to that. So for me, I'm okay with it. I do have to adjust the gears on here because I'm sure you can hear that clicking noise. But again, I've had this bike for over a year and a half. I've been destroying it. I got over almost 2,000 miles on this bike. And they're not easy miles. Most of it is hauling gear, going through trails, a lot of off-road stuff. And it's held up. It's held up pretty good for having over 2,000 miles, and I've had 0 issues with the bike, 0. So not a bad deal. We just hit that 19 miles, and it's not flashing. So again, this range test was at pedal assist 5, which is the max, on a very hilly route. And I got 20 miles out of it. My average speed was 28.4. Well, right now it's just because this last little bit we dropped it. But I was doing 30 plus miles the entire way, except for here, the last mile. So you guys that are watching, those of you guys that stay to the end, tell me what you think. Do you think this bike that's less than $1,500, is it worth buying? If you're a big person, this bike is actually, it's one of the better bikes for taller people. You know, I'm 5'7", 100, oh, let's put that in perspective too. I did that being 150 pounds and I'm 5'7". Now the height really doesn't matter much, is the weight, but it's a windy day, very hilly route, and you know, I got a solid 20 miles out of it, and I still have a battery bar left. Now, I'm not pushing it now. That's why it's not, that sag, voltage sag isn't there, because that's, again, that's a negative on this bike, man. You get, the moment you take off, you have a full charge, the moment you take off, that sag is going to be there. So, that's it, my beautiful people. All right, guys, here's the final numbers. Rode for 43 minutes. Did 19.7 miles. Average speed was 27.4. Now, keep in mind that last mile, I just rode, I think it was 10 miles an hour, very easy for that last mile. So it's actually a little bit higher than that. 300 feet of elevation. That's the actual route. Like I said, it's a very hilly route. We do have one battery bar left, but I don't even know what that means, right? Because there's no voltage, no percentage. I don't know how much I got left. I'm pretty sure at pedal assist 2 at 10, 15 miles an hour, I can get an additional 5 miles out of it. But I don't know. I don't know. So for what it's worth, I thought the ride was nice. The bike is comfortable. It was a beautiful day. Very windy too, just keep that in mind. You probably can get a little bit more. But 20 solid miles in worst case conditions isn't bad. Because if you take it easy, you're going to get a lot more.